YouTube, what's going on, baby? It's your boy BZ, and we are back with a banger. As most of you guys know, the Modern Warfare 3 beta is now live on all platforms throughout the entire weekend, and I'll tell you, for the past 24 hours, I have been absolutely addicted. In today's video, I want to talk to you guys about everything I love and hate about the beta, as well as give you guys some feedback from my community and other streamers and content creators as well. If it's your first time in the channel, consider subscribing so you never miss a video about anything Call of Duty and Warzone related. If you are a returning member or subscriber, make sure that you guys like the video and leave a comment down below so I know exactly what your favorite part was and what you guys are thinking about Modern Warfare 3 and the beta as a whole. Now, because I'm enjoying the beta so much, I think the best place that we can start off is going to be the movement, because I think that was the most important and biggest concern that many content creators, streamers, and players around the community had, especially when it came to Modern Warfare 2. The movement fluidity is extremely satisfying. However, it is still a step down from MW 2019. Initially, when I got into this beta, the first thing that I noticed is that there was a slight delay before and after I tried to use my slide, meaning the second I pressed B, or circle if you're on a PlayStation controller, I would have a delay before I actually slid. I can't sprint, I can't go prone, I can't jump, and I can't restart that next tack sprint or that next slide cancel for, like, I want to say it was like half of a second. The biggest reason why that's extremely frustrating is because I feel like Sledgehammer Gaming and Activision as a whole, they're trying to find some balance between having a good amount of movement for players who want to play extremely aggressive and still minimizing it to the point where it's not extremely broken like it was in MW 2019. Now, I can completely understand where Activision is coming from on that regard, because now we're coming from MW 2019, where there was great movement, to MW2, which was absolutely dog shit, to now trying to go back to broken movement again and try to find the balance in between that. The problem is you're still frustrating both parts of the community, where they have 1 foot in and 1 foot out on creating a skill gap, which I think is a terrible decision. Now, movement is a very pivotal part of Call of Duty's franchise. However, I would argue that it's probably not the most important. As far as overall gameplay goes, I feel like movement is secondary only to gunplay, because with gunplay, there's a satisfaction that you get in either getting like a 5 or a 10 kill streak, or getting headshots and you hear that sound effect in the background that kind of gives you that dopamine rush. And with that, I can honestly say that the gunplay is extremely satisfying in this game. A lot of these guns have very, very low visual recoil, and if you're a mouse and keyboard player, you're probably going to resonate a lot more with this, because in Modern Warfare 2, whenever you were shooting your gun, especially trying to use your mouse and keyboard, there was a lot of visual recoil that didn't help with your accuracy, because you were making micro adjustments that didn't need to be made. It was all visual, it wasn't practical. Stemming from this exact same issue came the problem of aim assist, where a lot of people in the community felt like aim assist was broken, and I mean completely broken, to the point where anybody could just pick up a controller and automatically be a 2KD player. I am ecstatic to announce that Sledgehammer has found the perfect balance for aim assist, to the point where it doesn't feel like you're missing all of your shots and all of your micro adjustments are going to be completely overcompensated, but it's still balanced to the point where you can compete at a very high level, but it takes a skillful player to hit shots on somebody who has very, very solid movement. If you are somebody who plays on mouse and key, or you've been wanting to play on mouse and key but you always stayed on controller because it was just very practical playing a game like Call of Duty, this is very good news for you, because now you can still go back to the input of your choice and feel comfortable on it without feeling like you're going to be slammed by people who barely have any thumbs. Now, on the note of gunplay and how satisfying it is in this game, I believe the TTK is perfect, and when Sledgehammer Games announced the first development and beta of Call of Duty, they also announced that they were going to be increasing the base health in multiplayer, which will also carry over to Warzone. This essentially means that there should be no guns that are going to kill you within 2 to 3 bullets at any range, because the base health was so low and aim assist was so broken. Now, I don't know exactly what that's going to look like when the Warzone integration goes live in December. However, I do believe that we are in good hands, because Sledgehammer has been doing an amazing job with their communication. Over the course of the past week, since the beta had come out for PlayStation, a lot of content creators and players around the community have been voicing their concerns over a number of issues, including slide timing delay, server instability, packet loss, and minor issues with camera lock while slide canceling. I cannot tell you how happy I am that Sledgehammer Gaming has done an amazing job of just acknowledging our requests, our concerns, and actually acting on them in a reasonable amount of time. About a week ago, when the PlayStation beta had gone live, everybody was ranting and tweeting on about how the Rage System tactical equipment was completely overpowered. Within that same weekend, not only did Sledgehammer Gaming acknowledge everybody's concerns, but they released a patch notes update nerfing Rage Serum, giving us the indication that in the near future, they're going to be consistently communicating with us about all of our concerns, our wants, and desires for the direction of this game to go in. Now, one general aspect that I love about the beta in the game so far is going to be how the loadouts are orchestrated and the attachments and perks behind them. The perk system and equipment that you get kind of gives me a little bit of a feeling that there's a lot more diversity in the combination combination of things that you can add to your passive abilities. And as far as attachments go on your weapon, one of my favorite parts about this game so far is that every attachment doesn't take away from your ADS or strafe speed. It was a very big nuisance having to choose between a red dot sight or forcing yourself to use an iron sight because you don't want to take away from your ADS speed on something like a submachine gun. And now to top this all off, Activision has brought back red dots on the minimap whenever you shoot a weapon that is not suppressed. Now to a lot of you guys, this may seem like a miscellaneous change, but I'm here to tell you guys it's not. When you're shooting your gun, there has to be some sort of drawback. Not in the sense that there's going to be a lot of recoil or each gun is going to have their pros and cons, but in the sense that when you're shooting your gun, you're giving an indication to other players of where you are, thus increasing the skill gap, which I am a huge proponent of. Lastly, one of the best parts about this game that I have been absolutely praying to God for this change to come is the audio. The audio is great in terms of hearing enemy footsteps and being able to differentiate between enemy footsteps and things that are going on in the map. Say if there's an airstrike, if there's a UAV, or if your teammates are shooting their guns next to you. I will say one of my biggest concerns off the rip is going to be the fact that the beta from last year in Modern Warfare 2 felt great in terms of bunny hopping. There was a little bit of slide canceling and the audio was phenomenal. But when they actually released the game, it felt like they took away all those changes and botched it somehow. Now, while the audio may be great and you can hear footsteps extremely clearly, especially with the tactical perk called Bone Conduction headset, at times it still feels like it's a little bit difficult to differentiate between directional audio, so I can't tell if someone's above me or below me or whether it's my teammate's footsteps or an enemy footsteps. At this point, most of you guys already know that the movement is essentially back, with slide canceling the movement speed, the base movement speed, your tactical sprint being longer, and a number of other things. However, there's still a lot of concerns around the diversity of those movements being allowed. For example, drop shotting doesn't necessarily feel the same as it did in MW3, which was actually a very broken mechanic where you could drop shot almost instantly and then go right back into a jump shot, which essentially breaks somebody's aim assist. I already touched on there being a delay with the slide canceling, which is also very annoying, but Sledgehammer Games did already address that. They reduced the delay and it does feel 10 times better, but I'm not necessarily sure if it's still going to solve the entire issue. Now, I understand I may be extremely particular here, but I will say that bunny hopping was a very core mechanic of Modern Warfare ever since Modern Warfare 2019, even probably before that. But for some reason, they seem to have removed bunny hopping as well, and I'm not necessarily sure why, but Repulse has been posting a bunch of replies from Sledgehammer Gaming saying that they have communicated their concerns with bunny hopping and things like slide canceling and slide timing delay. I don't necessarily know what that means and what they're going to do for the future, but at least they're acknowledging that concern and giving us some sort of response in regards to that. Now, outside of the movement, I think there's a lot of other major concerns that are very, very viable and reasonable to be had. One of them is going to be the spawn system, because in multiplayer, I have absolutely no control or understanding of what the spawn system is actually supposed to look like. I think on one hand, you can say it's a pro because now people aren't going to spawn trap you as easily, but on the other hand, I feel like even on bigger maps like High Rise or Favela, I end up spawning right in front of the enemy team and getting fried off rip. On top of that, I understand it's a beta, but I feel like every single lobby I'm fighting only CDL pros. I don't want to judge SBMM too harshly, especially because it's only the first week that we've been trying out the game, but for the love of God, can we tone it down at least a couple of notches? Outside of SBMM and loadouts and things of that nature, I think the UI is a little bit bland. It's essentially the same thing as Modern Warfare 2, which a lot of people didn't like because it was clunky, and obviously I want to say in season 3 or season 4 they did a complete revamp of it. I also don't know a lot of people who are fans of tuning attachments, especially when you have to max out the gun itself and then figure out the exact level that you have to tune an attachment to get the best bang for your buck. Now, this next part I wouldn't necessarily consider a con because the graphics for Modern Warfare 2 felt really good, especially as an upgrade from Modern Warfare 2019. However, I don't feel like there was any upgrade from Modern Warfare 2's graphics, which makes me feel like sometimes this game is really just what Modern Warfare 2 should have been in the first place. Some people around the community are saying that this game is essentially just paying $70 for like an extra 16 maps and maybe some zombies, which isn't really that much, but I wouldn't take it that far. I still do feel like this does feel like an entirely new Call of Duty game and an entirely new engine to a degree, but still at the end of the day, I do think it's worth the $70, especially if you're a diehard Call of Duty fan. I wouldn't necessarily consider these cons just yet, but I will say as I was playing the game over the weekend, I was getting a couple of notifications of packet bursts and I felt like some of my bullets weren't registering. Another major concern that I have is going to have to deal with hackers and cheaters all across. I feel like I ran into a couple of them while I was playing multiplayer, but I couldn't tell for sure. I wasn't sure if it was aimbot or wall hacks. However, I know multiplayer ranked and Warzone ranked as it stands right now is completely trashed from cheaters. Now, the fact that cheaters and server stability is a huge issue for a company as big as Activision is a major concern of mine, but I'm still hopeful that Sledgehammer Gaming is going to communicate some sort of solution in the near future. Now, all in all, I understand that this is just a beta and that there's a lot of things that are probably going to be changing prior to the release of Modern Warfare 3 sometime in early November, but I will say the first thing I can honestly notice about this game is that it feels better. When I'm moving around across the map, when I'm shooting my gun, the aim assist doesn't feel broken. I don't feel like I'm stuck doing any sort of slight maneuver, whether it's drop shot one-shotting or jumping to the left and trying to run to the right. Now, overall, I want to say that I give the beta in Modern Warfare 3 as it stands right now a solid 7.5 at 8. The core mechanics of the game, being the movement, the gunplay, the maps, and the server stability, have all been extremely solid. I've been having a great time with my friends, and I'm very excited to see what they do in the near future. Now, for those of you guys that have played the beta or even watched some of the gameplay, I want to know exactly what you think. Go down to the comments below. Tell me what your favorite part of the beta was. Tell me what you don't like, what you do like, and what kind of content that you want to see in the future surrounding Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone 3 when it comes out in early December. But other than that, much love, peace, blessings, and I will catch you guys in the next one.